Hello, this is a Lego figure and today I'm going to talk about the best cameras to use for taking photos of Lego figures. I've got an iPhone Pro, I've got a conventional camera with a macro lens, and I've got a telephoto lens for that camera. I've also got an additional macro lens for the iPhone, which is a separate lens. And over here I've got a camera that I'm not going to tell you about until the end. This is a different kettle of fish altogether, so let's get into it. So the Lego figures are very small and can be difficult to get into the whole of the frame. You can see if I lift it so it fills the frame of the video, it blurs. And here it's in focus, but it's only really taken up about 2/3 of the frame. So it is quite difficult sometimes to photograph these Lego figures because they're so small and to capture much detail. It's not just getting the face in focus, sometimes you want to get all of it in focus, and that can be quite difficult. So we've got this iPhone 13 Pro. So later I'm going to be looking at the dedicated macro lens and the normal lens and the telephoto lens. So this is an iPhone Pro and this happens to be the iPhone Pro 13, and you can see we've got this macro here. So I'm going to engage that so I can get really close. It's focused on the Hulk. I'm just going to pull the exposure down because I have got lights in there. Here we go. Now because it's a Pro iPhone, I've also got a telephoto lens. So let's line this up so that we've got most of the Hulk in frame. Seems to have gone to macro, so I'm going to take a picture of that. And I'm going to turn the macro off just to use telephoto. I can probably get a little bit closer. Let's focus on him. Here we go. And I'm going to disable macro. Macro is disabled. You can see here I can't get very close without it blurring. Just on the standard lens, this is probably as close as I can get, so I'm going to take that picture. So I've now fitted the macro lens to the standard wide lens on the iPhone. So let's see what it's like with a macro lens. I'm not going to be using the macro setting, so already we can get really quite a big Lego figure here in the Hulk. We don't have much depth of field. Let's focus on his face. So you can see one hand's out of focus, one hand's in focus. That's using the macro. If I turn it upside down, I can maybe get closer still. So again, let's see if I can focus. This is too close. He's really big in the frame. But if I pull back to there and click on the screen to focus, that's as big as I can get while keeping things in focus. There we are. This is an actual mirrorless camera, the Sony a6300, and I've got a dedicated macro lens on here, and this allows you to get a really high magnification and get really close to things, but potentially you don't need it because we're also going to look at this 50mm lens. Do stay to the end of the video because at the end of the video we'll see how this camera does, which is very different. So now I'm using the dedicated macro on the Sony a6300. Again, this is JPEG only. This is a 24 megapixel. Let's see what we can get. So something I do like about this is I can tilt the screen up and I'm going to get as close as I can, and I'm really close. So from above you can see on the other iPhone just how close I am. I'm really, really close. This is the closest I've got really so far. And even at this close, I can focus, which is amazing. Now, one thing that's happening is the focus seems a little bit off, so I'm going to go for this eye here. Using autofocus, that's much better. And I'm just going to drop down the shutter speed so it's a little bit slower. There we are. But because I'm so close, I'm actually taking some of the light off it, so I need to bounce some light back into it. So I've got a little lume cube here, you can see this, but I'm just going to use that just to brighten up. Well, you can see that's made a huge difference. Maybe it's put a catch light in his eye. If I wanted to, probably I could get even closer. Excellent. So now I put a 50mm lens on. We could almost think this is a telephoto lens because it's an APS-C body, so it's an equivalent of an 85mm really, or 75mm, which is quite telephoto because it's hunting for focus. It needs to be much further away, so I'm just going to readjust this camera. So to get focus, I'm about here, which is where the phone was originally. We're really far away, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, and we can't get a high magnification of the Lego figure using this lens. So our 50mm lens on the proper camera might be better for figures that are larger. So I've got the TG6 and I'm going to turn it on. It should be turned on already, and it is set to microscope mode and it's set to large JPEG only. So you can see I can get really close up to and fill the frame with the Hulk. And so here we go. What I can also do is, if I go to the mode dial, I can put on focus stacking, and I think somewhere in my camera settings I've set focus stacking to be X number of pictures. So I'm going to go to menu, so focus stacking settings. I've got 3-second wait and 5 shots. I'm going to increase that to 7, so we're going to stack 7 shots altogether. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. So it's stacking the macro shots in camera and it shows the before and after. I can also add this, which is a light guide. It goes on here. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put this in, like so. And now when I focus, this illuminates. You can see that there in the video. So I'm not going to do I will do a focus stacking run. So let's do a focus stacking. So that just provides more light.